It's the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 1, and it reads, Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound an holy alarm in my mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. And these devils are indeed planning for something major to happen in the very next few days to weeks, and possibly before the elections take place. First and foremost, before I get started, I want to thank Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Makakadash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me this truth. Salutations, you brothers and sisters that are out there listening and learning, fighting this good fight of faith. And salutation, my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To you all, I want to say shalom. Help and pray that this lesson be edifying to the elect. So, a few brothers have been reporting on this. I seen this. I didn't see. Well, I seen this article today. A brother had did the article from. It was posted yesterday, September 26th, 2024, the hopeful year of Jacob's trouble, as coined by the beloved apostle Tahar. And it reads: WF insider plan mass deletion event will result in globalist coup of America. So I had actually watched Redacted with Natalie and Clayton Morris a couple days ago. I think it was 2 days ago, and they were speaking about this. Breaking U.S. Congress is prepping for a mass deletion event before election. So we could see, all the pieces are being put in play. We're not well, let's get that. Get that. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And the Lord answered me and said, Write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So these things are becoming clearer and clearer, for the people, for the prophets, the watchmen that have been watching. And as scriptures say, we are to give warning. Get that real quick, and then we'll get into this lesson. So Ezekiel 3:17, and it reads, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. Right? So all these things are coming down the pike, man. So we've been watching, and we're not we're not ignorant of these things. So it says the global elites, quote unquote, reset moment is almost here, according to a WEF insider who warns final preparations are being made for a mass deletion event targeting non-compliant U.S. politicians designed to overrule the election results and plunge the nation into martial law, paving the way for the next phase of their totalitarian master plan. So, and these things have been being spoken about. Well, not this particular part, but plans to bring in, martial law, and which is it's in the scriptures. That a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. Talks about sedition among men. So there's a lot of things that are in play at the same time. So I have this article, which I'm actually just gonna play, because he pretty much set puts in text what he says, or however maybe he writes it and then he speaks it. Or I don't know how they do it, but pretty much the article is saying what he says in the video. So I'm gonna get a little bit of the video because he has a couple people speaking, about it as well, and then I want to get what Clayton and from Redacted some of the things that he brings up and get a article and a definition and few precepts, and that'll be the lesson. So without further ado, here we go. This is fair use. Fair use. This is for educational purposes only.
Imagine the unthinkable, the Washington Post wrote this week. A mass shooting of members of Congress that leaves a large swathe of the country unrepresented and shifts the balance of political power in Washington. The mainstream media is on board, and the deception has also seeped into uniparty politics in DC.
We have plans in place for a president. We have seen that happen in the United States of America. But there is a plan in place for secession, and especially if there's multiple leaders that are killed or incapacitated beyond repair, basically. So I'm really proud to join Representative Kilmer, Timmons, Cleaver in leading a proposed constitutional amendment that would establish a congressional continuity plan by requiring each newly elected member to provide a list of at least 5 individuals who are qualified to serve in the member's place in the event of that member's death during the term. And if they were to pass away, the governor of the state must select a replacement from that list within 10 days.
The global elite have pushed Kamala Harris to emphasize the narrative that Donald Trump is a threat to democracy. Accusing your opponent of what you're planning to do yourself is a classic move straight from the globalist playbook.
It's also important to remember the sort of environment in which this sort of thing tends to thrive. When Donald Trump is repeatedly characterized by, among other people, Kamala Harris as a threat to democracy, saying things like democracy is on the line, not just good policy is on the line or my kind of government is on the line, but democracy itself is on the line. And Donald Trump is a threat to that democracy. Those things have their intended effect.
We are at DEFCON 1 because the plan for a mass casualty event in the House of Representatives is an open secret among globalists and the uniparty politicians in Washington, D.C.
Anytime that Democrats and Republicans are working together in Congress, it immediately throws up red flags for me, because we don't live in a world where they ever work together and they're always all after their own interests. Right now, they have a Democrat who is putting forth a bill for an amendment pertaining to what happens if there are mass casualties in Congress. That means many people in Congress dying all at once. So the bill, if passed, is being proposed as something similar to what happens if a senator from a state passes away. The governor of that state appoints another senator to take that senator's place until there's a special election. Well, now they are advocating for the same thing to happen in the House of Representatives if a mass casualty happens and many House of Representatives, congressmen and women die at once, in order to emergency fill those seats and keep the government running, because, the world would stop existing if the government just didn't run for a day, take all of our money and squander us and screw us and all that. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. They are gearing up and they are getting ready in case something like that happens. And then what would happen is the governor of that state would pick from a list that is basically put together by each congressperson. So each congressperson would be asked to make a list of 5 people that they would like to take their place if something were to happen, God forbid. And of those 5 people, the governor of that state will choose from those 5 people who is going to fill that seat in an emergency situation, and then have a special election for that seat later on. First of all, you and I know that special election would be delayed and delayed and delayed and delayed. Second of all, why are both Republicans and Democrats worried about a mass casualty event in Congress where many people would die? And the only conclusion I've come to is that Donald Trump is going to win the election in November. And much like they've accused him of, they're not going to want the peaceful transition of power.
Right, which is very well possible. We have to just continue to watch as well as pray. but we do know that there will be civil wars. Get that what is that excuse me, Isaiah Isaiah 19 and 2. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? And this America is modern day Sodom and Egypt, as it says in I believe that's in the book of Revelation. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, right? The Americans against the Americans, and they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, city against city and kingdom against kingdom. So this election, so-called election, is causing more division in the country, right? And what did our Lord and Savior Yahawashi say about divisions within a kingdom? So this is I'll grab it in Luke 11 and 17. I will straight to the point. But he, Yahawashi, knowing their thoughts, said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and a house divided against a house falleth. I think there was, let's see, block here. That's what I'm thinking about. As a brother, the elder from Vegas brings out. Here we go. Matthew 12 and 25 in the NLT. Yahawashi knew their thoughts and replied, any kingdom divided by civil war is doomed. A town or family splintered by feuding will fall apart, man. So this place is on its way out of here, man. And civil war will ensue, through this. So let's see. So let's get a little bit of what Clayton is saying, because he's gonna bring up this and bring some more understanding to what these devils are up to. Without further ado, this is fair use. Fair use is for educational purposes only. So without further ado, here we go.
All times, you guys. With me as always. This is not a commercial for Neosporin. It's just a very ingrained habit.
Well, you might need it for our next story. Well, a stunning development coming from Capitol Hill. So we are just over 40 days away from arguably the most important election in American history. And now Congress is pushing forward a proposed 28th Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. A new amendment right now, 40 days before the election. You can't make this up. It used to be that the deep state forces sort of operated in the shadows. We didn't know what they were doing. And now they're operating sort of right out in the public.
Right. And that's, let's see, let's get Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. Right. This is, them revealing themselves. Ultimately, Yahawashi, through their pride, having them reveal themselves. This is Job 15 and 5. For thy mouth uttereth thine own iniquity, and thou choosest the tongue of the crafty. Thine own mouth condemneth thee, and not I. Yea, thine own lips testify against thee, man. So these devils are revealing themselves through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, putting it on their spirit to do these things. Let's get Proverbs 21st chapter, first verse, and it says, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord, as the rivers of water, he turneth it whithersoever he will. Right? So Yahawashi are controlling these damn devils, man, and making them perform his will, right? Because the Lord is a man that he cannot lie. Isaiah 55 and 11, I'll start at 10. For as the rain cometh down, the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but watereth the earth, and maketh it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater, so shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Right? So the Lord's words never come back void, man. You know, whatever the Lord speaketh, it will come to pass, man. These devils are not above that, you know? Let's get back to the video.
Force feeding information right to our members of Congress and force feeding it to the Mockingbird media. Congress is openly telling us right now that they are prepping for a mass casualty event in Washington, D.C. Yes, mass assassinations of our members of Congress. I'm talking over 100 members of Congress killed in a single event. They're preparing for it, according to the Washington Post, and now confirmed by Politico. A bipartisan group of congressmen are suddenly concerned about the nation's preparedness for a catastrophic event. They're rolling out a plan for the 28th Amendment called the Continuity Amendment. Continuity of Government Amendment. So get this. They would allow members of Congress to be rapidly replaced in the event that 100 or more of them are suddenly killed. Because when you see these headlines from like the Washington Post and you read these stories from Politico, I want all of you to like go a layer deeper. Like, what's the real goal here? First of all, it's to scare you, number one, right? That's what they're hoping to do, to scare you. Who knows if there's some sort of a false flag? Who the hell knows? Anyway, their main goal is to scare you. And then you want to go a layer deeper and find out exactly what they're trying to do here. So if 100 members of Congress are suddenly killed, no election would be needed, according to this new continuity of government plan. No election.
No election would be needed. And there has been talks, you know, in these different articles that there possibly won't be an election this year, you know? So, you know, we'll continue to watch as well as pray and see exactly where these devils are going with this. But through the Spirit, you know, we do see that there's, we're not ignorant of Satan's devices, I'll put it that way, right? So there's things that are happening that are lining up with other plans or wicked agendas that have been put out there. And these things are lining up, you know, and it's becoming clearer and clearer as it spoke about in the book of Habakkuk. So as Clayton had mentioned, continuity of government. So this is what the definition of it means. It says a coordinated effort within the executive, legislative, or judicial branches of the federal government to ensure that national essential functions, NEFs, continue to be performed during a catastrophic emergency, right? Which is interesting because, as they're going to say, well, let me just play it. The way that this has to happen, the only way that this continuity of government can happen is if there's an event like this. And as they said in the first video, if this was to happen, then they can appoint non-elected officials, the governors. I believe he said the governors. Yeah, the governors, if I'm not mistaken, can appoint whoever they pick from this list. The senators would pick 5 people, and then if they were deleted, then the governor of that state, who the senator represented, from my understanding, would pick one of them to replace that member. And it has to be a certain amount of members, I assume, you know, for this to happen. So, you know, as the scriptures say, 2 Corinthians 2 and 11, I'll go straight to the point. This is in the NLT. So that Satan will not outsmart us, for we are familiar with his evil schemes, you know? So we know that these devils are up to something, you know? We're not ignorant of his devices, evil schemes, you know? So everything is being orchestrated. Everything's being put in place so that they can, I believe, through the Spirit, can put in their own members. And I'll bring up an article which backs, what I believe through the Spirit because of what this demon Klaus Schwab has been saying. So let's get where we at? Let's get this other point that Clayton makes, and then continue on. I don't want to make this lesson too long. 3405. Go.
And they would get rid of that election, and instead, here's how the amendment would work. Lawmakers would submit a list of 5 successors from their own party to the state governor. In the event of a mass casualty incident, hundreds of members of Congress are killed, wiped out. The governor then would appoint one of these nominees as the replacement, ensuring that the legislative body remains operational until they could get their act together and then hold an election. But right away, the governor would choose based on those selections from their party. Okay, no voters needed. You don't need a vote. You don't need voters in this. But here's where it gets tricky. Passing a constitutional amendment, of course, is nearly impossible in the United States. We don't have very many of them, and for good reason. It requires a 2/3 majority to vote in both the House and the Senate, followed by a ratification from 3/4 of the state legislatures in the country. But the bigger question is, why now? Do they know something we don't? Are we facing a mass casualty event that we need to be made aware of? Do you have some information you'd like to share with us on this? Could it have anything to do with the wide open southern borders and the amount of military-aged men that have now come into the United States armed? I'd like to know about this. Are the warmongers in the deep state planning to take us to war with Iran, with Russia? Is that what the Biden administration is trying to do? And the Pentagon? It certainly looks that way. Certainly looks that way. A nuclear strike on D.C. while Congress is in session? Or imagine a State of the Union address when everyone is in the same room, for crying out loud. What are they exactly hiding here? I would love to know.
There's abundance of ways that these devils can go about orchestrating this FF, in order to push forth their wicked agenda. So let's get to now. This was from last year, almost exactly a year ago, September 9th, 2023. From the People's Voice, says Klaus Schwab urges world leaders to grant WEF full governmental control over nations. Now, I remember reading this last year, and I don't know if I did a lesson on it, but I know I've spoken about it in lessons. But I thought, how would they be able to achieve this if these different nations aren't necessarily going along with what they want? Now, going to what this article is saying and the way that it's all fitting together through the law and through the lawmakers picking 5 people, and then the governor immediately picks from those 5. Who's to say that one of the 5 from each one of these choices is not aligned completely with this devil? So then all of a sudden you have 100+ people that are in the government that are aligned with this demon. We're not ignorant of Satan's devices. That, very well could happen. We just have to watch as well as pray, and see how it plays out. Because this devil wants to do a lot of things. So I want to read a little bit of this. So this is from the WEF website. And it's, let's see. The intelligent age, a time for cooperation, global cooperation, right? And as it says in Revelation, the 13th chapter, he calls of all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their forehead, right? The whole entire world, right? The World Economic Forum, right? This was published a couple of days ago, September 24th. So when you look at some of his plans in here, they line up with what brothers have been reporting on. So let's read this first first paragraph I have highlighted because it's a little lengthy, but I just want to read a couple of these paragraphs just to warn you brothers and sisters that are out there that may not know about this information of what these devils are up to, and how this is all leading to Jacob's trouble, as it talks about in Jeremiah 30:7 and Daniel 12. The time such has never been since there was a nation, and this is all how this is formulating. So it says the intelligent age is also transforming how we live. Cities are becoming smarter with sensors and AI managing everything from traffic flow to energy usage. So listen to the words that are being used, right? Sensors, right? Tracking and tracing, facial recognition, traffic flow, right? Energy usage. There was articles that were coming out last year about, them not the wicked not wanting people to have gas stoves. Why would you want to do away with gas stoves? Or even why would you want to do away with you know what do you call it? It's like gas powered cars, because then they can control everything if everything is electric. If you have an electric stove, they can turn it off and on whatever they want as long as they have access to its router, or however that works. But it's electric, so it's on a grid, right? It says these smart cities and the smart homes within them are not just more efficient, they are designed to be more sustainable, reducing carbon emissions. Your carbon footprint, right? So you had too many pieces of steak this month, so we have to cut that off. You can't have no more steak for the next 3 months. You can't have any more burgers because your carbon emissions are exceeding the limit, and improving quality of life, right? And as the scriptures say, let's get that real quick. These devils are, they think they're slick, man. They really do, and they're gonna deceive the masses, but they're not gonna deceive the very. Let's get that. Matthew 24:24. For there shall arise false anointed and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. But it's not possible for the elect to be deceived, right? The Lord said that none have been plucked out of his hand, roughly paraphrasing. So the elect will remain the elect, man. But the masses will be deceived. What was the scripture I was looking for? Salakia. Go back to it. Not this one. This one. Reducing carbon emissions and improving quality of life. My Lord's will come back to me. It says, with the rise of the metaverse and virtual worlds, the line between the digital and physical is becoming increasingly blurred. Virtual spaces are emerging where people can work, socialize, and even own digital assets, ushering in the new forms of economic and social interaction. Now, what that reminds me of is, oh man, called Slocky. I'm trying to think of, Slocky. 1 second, let me try to find it. There it goes. So this Black Mirror episode, 15 million credits, right? So I just want to, this is for fair use. I want to show this because, as they say, art imitates life. These devils, have a thing called predictive programming, right? So they put things out there to desensitize the public to these ideas, which they actually want to put forth, right? And is in this what do you call it article, it talks about virtual spaces are emerging where people can work, right, socialize, and even own digital assets, ushering in the new forms of economic and social interaction, right? So this is all being put out in the public. Let's get that. Let's watch this video real quick. And notice, you watch everything. The number of a man, 603 score and six, 3 sixes. Of all the numbers he could have walked to, this is the one that he walks to, right? The number of a man, 3 sixes. Child size stigma. Right? And that's, basically, we don't need to watch the whole thing. But, as this devil cotton swab, Klaus Schwab, says, you will own nothing and be happy. Look at everybody's wearing the same thing. Everybody has a little job, where they work for merits. Everything is, the lines are blurred, right? Between digital and physical is blurred in that world, right? And virtual spaces are emerging where people can work, socialize, and even own digital assets, ushering in new forms of economic and social interaction. This shift towards a more blended reality may profoundly impact how we define personal space, property, and community. It says social, geopolitical, technological, and environmental intelligence. Yet the vast energy demands of these new technologies, especially in areas like cryptocurrency, mining, and AI computing, should give us pause. It must be balanced with the creation of renewable energy solutions. Environmental intelligence is about ensuring that the intelligent age does not exacerbate sea change or deplete our natural resources, but rather helps us mitigate environmental risks to build more sustainable economies. And then this in the show, them on the bike working like that basically powered the it was like kind of like a wind turbine or a hydro turbine, with water, where the motion of the bikes, it powered the system. So they had everybody basically like hamsters on a wheel, and they powered the whole system to have electricity. And for their reward, they had basically housing there. They all had the same clothes on, and they were able, their little gifts and stuff that they were able to give themselves were all digital. They have, he gets like, maybe he wants a couple extra trees or whatever, be 5 merits, or, he wants a little Pokemon over here to dance for him every morning, whatever crap that they, you know what I'm saying? But you own nothing and be happy. So this is the representation of what these devils want everybody to be like, is receiving your UBI, your universal basic income, because there will be no jobs, because they already talk about all the jobs, and Americans have spent all their pandemic money and then some, so nobody will have any money, So how are people going to survive? So that everything is lining up, man. This was from a couple September 22nd, 2024. So everything's lining up, man. These devils are putting all these pieces into play. It says, let me see. Let's just read this last one, because it also goes into, censorship. The intelligent age is fundamentally, altering how we communicate, both with one another and with the world around us. AI is taking instantaneous and global communication to the next level, enabling real-time translation across languages, automatic content generation, and hyper-personalized messaging that caters to individual preferences and behaviors. AI-driven platforms are already beginning to mediate much of our communication, right? So basically monitor. So what this word mediate means. Mediate definition, it means intervene between people in a dispute or order in order to bring about an agreement or reconciliation, right? So you're going to have AI acting as a damn peacemaker. Intervene, step in, intercede, interpose, temporize, conciliate. You get the point. Moderate, umpire, referee, right? You're going to have some damn AI that the devil set up to mediate much of our communication, right? So this is what these devils want. They want to be as the Most High, whether through social media algorithms that decide what content we see, or virtual assistants who manage our schedules and interactions. As these systems become more sophisticated, they will increasingly shape the flow of conversation in society, raising important questions about bias and misinformation, right? So this is what these devils are coming with, man. This is what it all comes down to. And ultimately they want people, to be on the grid, man, you know, on the grid, and they would actually be connected to the system through that MO to the TV, man. This is from that same article. It says WEF is from Fortune. I think it's a magazine. It says WEF chair Klaus Schwab. It took just under 4 years to connect 1 billion people to virtual digital services. We must redouble our efforts as the world enters the AI age, you know? And he goes into it, of course, I want you to describe everything, but you see where this is all going, man. Technological integration, and that's what, going back to the beginning, this first article, it appears that, this mass deletion event will allow these demons, the WEF, to infiltrate the government and push forth all these, unrighteous, well, there will be decrees, onto the people, man. So we just have to watch as well as pray, man. Let's get this. The second Ezra 14, let's see, 15. I want to start with. Yeah, I started 15. Second Ezra 14 and 15, and set aside the thoughts that are most heavy onto thee, and haste thee to flee from these times, because these times are going to be evil, man. A time such has never been since there was a nation, as it says in the book of Daniel, 12th chapter. And it says, for yet greater evils than those which thou hast seen happen shall be done hereafter. For look how much the world shall be weaker through age, so much the more shall evils increase upon them that dwell therein, man. So evils are coming to this place, man. Great evils are coming to Babylon the Great. Let's see. But the Lord got something special for these damn devils. Job 5 and 12, he disappointeth the devices of the crafty. Who's a crafty? Esau, Edom, so-called white man, so that their hands cannot perform their enterprise. So you're gonna get so far with all this bullshit that they're pushing, mass surveillance, them controlling people's speech, controlling people's movements, smart cities, monitoring everybody, keeping everybody in a damn cubicle, riding bikes around, and only buses. Nobody owns anything, and you're supposed to be happy about that shit, eating bugs. All this bullshit that these devils are pushing, the Lord's only going to let them go so far before he brings it all crashing down. Job 5:13, he taketh the wise in their own craftiness, and the counsel of the froward is carried headlong, right? So these devils are through, man. Let's see if I had another one. And the Lord's making Esau bear, as it says, they're being wicked. I mean, they are being wicked, but they're being revealed. Jeremiah 49:10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not. So these devils will not be able to hide themselves from the world. The Lord is revealing these devils, man. 2 Thessalonians 2:8, through the spirit and power of Yahawashi, putting his spirit on the prophets, man. That's how they're being revealed, right? Because the prophets are the Lord's mouthpiece. 2 Thessalonians 2:8, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, right? The prophets sighing and crying for all abominations that are done in the midst thereof, right? Blowing the trumpet, right? The scriptures talk about their words have entered into the gates of the nobles, roughly paraphrasing, right? So these devils know what time it is, so they got to come down with great wrath because they know that they have but a short time. And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, right? When Yahawashi comes, man. Destroy these damn devils, man. Let's see, yeah, that's pretty much it, That's what these devils are doing. They're I'll just read it. Isaiah 10:3, where they brag about their evil desires, they praise the greedy and curse the Lord, man. So that's them, this is them bragging of their evil desires, man. Urging world leaders to grant full governmental control over nations, man. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's my spiritual 2 cents on what's going on, what it seems like these devils are up to, but we'll just have to wait and see, man. Ultimately all of this is leading to the MO to the TV, man. Everything going digital, everything going onto a grid. They want everything to be able to be tracked and traced and monitored, and if you don't go along, to be able to be punished. And if you don't, they have everything digital. So if you're not a part of the digital system, then you can't participate in society, man. So that's what these devils are pushing for, you know. So that's pretty much it. I hope and pray this lesson was edifying to the elect. In closing, I want to thank Yahawashi once again for putting the spirit on me to do this lesson. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash. I want to give double honor to the apostles and the elders of GMS who teach and rule well, who taught me this truth. Salutation, you brothers and sisters that are out there listening and learning, fighting this good fight of faith. Keep fighting, keep striving, keep pushing. We're almost out of here. And salutation, my fellow brethren that are pushing this word in all truth and sincerity. To you all, I want to say shalom. I want to say Abba Ball, Bad Esau Edom, and Kwam Yasharallah. And shalom. To the next one.